what you think are your worst moments are actually the moments you can learn the best from, and they take you forward in life. And if you have that outlook in life, then life becomes such a beautiful, it becomes wonderful, I would say. Native town, there's so many small, small gullies and things waiting to be explored. A story at every turn, at every step. I've been to Dharavi, I've been to forts, I've been to Raj Bhavan. It's amazing, and the people you meet there, the stories you learn, and it's just deepened my connection.
Welcome to Bifocal Naturalist, a podcast which focuses on the well being of people and the planet. Many illustrious people have studied under streetlights. Our former president and scientist, Dr. Abdul Kalam, then astronaut, American Indian astronaut Kalpana Chawla, and the well known actor R. Mahadevan. It requires a lot of grit, determination, perseverance, and resilience to study and succeed in life while studying under the streetlights. The late Hassan Ali, Abdul Ali, Dholka Walaji studied under streetlights, and he grew to be a great personality of Mumbai. But he never forgot his roots or his beginnings, and he contributed to the well being and welfare of the community and people at large. He set up two trusts, one for the health and the other for education, the two pillars which are absolutely necessary for the well being of people. Our guest today is Hashim Mirza, the great grandson of Dholak Walaji. Hashim is a CA by profession and manages his family business of greeting cards. He is a blogger, an amazing blogger. He's also a history buff, and his beautiful walks in and around Mumbai showcase the history of the place. The gullies we walk through, the lanes, the marketplaces, the temples, the mosques, the churches. I mean, he's done a lot of research before taking up the walk. Hi, Hashim, how are you?
So nice to see you, Vijaya.
Yeah, you're looking good. I mean, your artifact
Yeah,
behind your this thing is so nice, the setting. What is it?
so actually, this is from my dad's ancestral village, Kapparwanj, where we got a very old house. I
Uh-huh.
think I sent you a picture, otherwise I sent it to
Yeah.
you later.
Yeah.
And it is actually recessed a cupboard which is generally recessed into a wall.
Uh-huh.
But we were repairing a house. We had to bring down two stories, and from that we got this cupboard and we put it here. And my mom loves this collection. She loves to travel, and she loves this collection of plates that you see over here. You can see. I
Yes,
just move a
yes,
bit.
yes,
So
yes.
they offer all over the place, and this is something that she loves to do. And the we our house is is the oldest thing, but it's still in pretty good shape considering its age. It hasn't shown much signs of wear and tear, unlike some of its occupants here. I've lost my hair, and um, and there's no other place I really love to live. It was built in the 1930s on a double plot of land because we wanted it that way. It has a garden with some nice trees. We got some mango trees and coconut trees. We had a jackfruit tree. We had other trees as well. We had moringa and other trees, but some of them have not survived, and it's a shame because those added so much flavor to our house. And it is built in the old Art Deco style, and it is fronting the SV Road. It is one of the few bungalows that are left. So we have got a wooden staircase with a banister that we used to slide down when we were children. And it has got nice balconies, verandas with stained glass. It has got Minton tiles in our rooms. They're almost like a carpet in design. And we got teak wood doors, windows, and most of our furniture and all are ancient. And that's the way I like it. I wouldn't stay in any other place.
Hashim's house is really beautiful. It's like a museum with a four-poster bed in one room, and then he's got these ancient board games. Hashim, can you tell us about your illustrious great-grandfather?
So both my great grandfathers from my dad's side, my Dadaji's father and my Nani Ma's father, my granny's father. They were very illustrious. My dad's great grandfather, he came to from Kaparwanj, and they were wealthy, of course. And he set up what was the first arms store in Bombay. We were earlier known as Bandukwalas, and now we've become Mirzas. So Mirza was a title that was given to my great grandfather, and that's how my dad didn't want to carry on the Bandukwala really because it had very negative connotations to it. So he made a name Mirza. And
But
sorry,
it put the dacoits and the robbers at bay. Bandukwala is a nice name.
I know, but whenever we used to go abroad, they used to they used to question us about this arms, and because they thought we were arms dealers. So that
I
was
I have a friend, a doctor. He is a daruwala.
yeah.
So,
The daru is it's not really from alcohol. It is more like gunpowder.
uh,
Gunpowder,
really?
daru gola.
Oh, I
Ah,
always thought maybe they were brewers of alcohol. I'm glad
no,
you
no, no.
corrected
I
me.
mostly it comes from that. Maybe he might be a brewer, but this mostly daru wala comes from that.
Oh, really?
And
Thank you.
my other great grandfather from my nani's father, Hassan Ali Dholkawal, whom you just mentioned, he came from Dholka, which is our ancestral village in the mid 19th century, means around 1850, 1870. And he came when he was not even a teenager. His father had passed away, and he came with his mom to the city. And he came and, like many, he was a very bright young man, and he found work in one of the apothecary shops. The Karwa Gandhis and Paidoni, there's still a lot of Karwa Gandhis over there that make all these medicinal oil and these herbs. So he found work there, and he was staying in the fort in Bora Bazaar. And there he was so bright that he wanted to learn. So he started studying on the street right, and somehow he managed to learn English. And because he was so bright, the shop owners put him in the front to interact with the customers. And interacting with the Englishman there, he found that there was an opportunity in the stationery trade. So he started one of the biggest stationery shops in Bombay, which unfortunately is not there anymore, the Bombay Stationery Mart. And one of the first printing presses in the city, it was called the British India Press. He made a fortune. He did very well because of his honesty and his hard work and his commitment. Those people really do well. And the good thing was that, a lot of people come to the city, they make their fortune. In those days, a lot of people gave back. So not only while he was living, they gave back, not only to his community or people from his village, but even after he passed away. So when he passed away, in his will, he bequeathed two trusts, one for education and the other for healthcare, mainly a maternity hospital. So maternity hospitals still exist. They are more than 100 years old now, both these trusts. The school had a function in Dholka about a couple of years ago, the centenary function, and the hospital trust maybe around this, we don't know the exact date, but around the same time. So it's more than 100 years ago. And of course, because he understood the value of education, learning on the street light, so he wanted people to be educated, and he set up what at that time was there were hardly any, formal schools. And in a town, small town like Dholka, which is, an hour and a half from Ahmedabad, to set up a school was a big thing in those days. Even now, it's a high school. A lot of ministers, a lot of judges, poets, literature people have all studied in the school, and they all are trying to give back in some way. And the maternity hospital, well, again came from a personal experience of his. So he was married uh, 4 times in his life, but not at the same time. So most of his wives, they died in childbirth, or his some of his children also died in infancy. So he said that I must do something, because he had personally gone through all this grief. So he wanted to do something. In fact, he was such a visionary that my grandmother, she had 3 daughters survived to adulthood, and my grandmother was the last child of his, and he married a widow who already had a son. In those days, to have marry a widow who already has a son, remarry her, and accept her, and it was something which even in these days, people think twice about. So that's something which really I admire of his, and we are trying to live up to his heritage, to his legacy, and of course, but it is a huge ask.
Yeah. So he was not only a philanthropist, but also a reformist, who tried to bring
Yes,
about reforms and by his personal actions. Maternal
yes, yes,
mortality those days was extremely high. Many women
extremely.
died, during childbirth. So I think it was very important to set up a hospital where, hygiene and, safety of the woman could be catered to. I think it's really a
Yes.
wonderful thing he has done. Hashim, how did you start blogging? Because you suddenly got into blogging.
So, Vijay, I was as child, I was very extremely shy. In fact, I won a prize for the shyest boy in class in KG, which is another thing. And I used to be very quiet and self-reserved. So most of my friends were my brother's friends in those days. So because I was so shy, I took to reading as, a way to occupy myself, and I love to read. I used to read big tomes, I finish them off in a way as read continuous. Now I can't, of course. I don't know. Maybe with my hair, some of my brain has gone too. But even then, because of my reading habit, I developed at least a good vocabulary. And and that's how I started to write. I like to write, I like to think and write about a variety of topics, but not so much. And of late, just when the lockdown started, I had a lot of time on my hands. So I said, why not, let me write a small daily blog, maybe a page or so, and put it out there. And I started, one day led to another day, couple of days led to a week led to a month led to a year. And for 3 years, I think more than 1,000 blogs on a daily basis, I used to write continuously. Now, of course, I don't write so often, but that led to me, to my passion for writing. That's it.
Topics you have covered. What is your content?
Uh,
Because I love reading, you write so beautifully.
So I like to write about things which earlier they were very general, but now they're more personal to me. So it'll be about my family, about my experience, about what I've witnessed, or something. And my style of writing is I sometimes tend to go overboard. They call that verbal diarrhea, but I tend to go overboard. My sentences become extra long, but that's the way I am. And I am a little bit. I'm often an optimistic guy, so I tend to see things in a very positive light. So maybe my daughter says that you should be a little bit more balanced, but that's the way I am, and that's the way I write.
How did you start
And
your walks? The history, I mean, so much of history and research you do, before going out on a walk. There are many things
So,
I don't know about Mumbai, I've learned from you.
so um, when I was younger and when we started going to college, my dad purposely asked us to put us in college. We are staying in the suburbs. We stay in Kharbandra. And my dad purposely put us into a college in town so that we could go to the shop. The shop was in Abdul Masjid where I still go today. And sometimes he used to send me for, he used to invest in these shares, company shares. He used to send me for the share work into this. And those times the share offices were in the fountain and fort area. And I really used to love these old buildings, stone buildings. They do like they they appeal to me. That they start talking to me in a way that these new modern buildings, they feel so cold and distant. But these, even though they're made of stone, they feel like so like feel like actual people. And I started visiting them, and then in my 20s or 30s, I came across this book, uh, Bombay That Was by Rahul Mehrotra and Sharda Dwivedi. It's a beautiful art, like a coffee table book, and it detailed the Bombay of old and gave me so many insights of the city that I realized that if I'm staying here for my whole life, I don't know even a minuscule portion of it. So I started reading that book, and my first walks were in the fort and the fountain area, and I used to take my cousins from abroad or relatives who used to come just just around just to have a feel of the city. So the more of colonial Bombay, and that's how I developed my passion for walks. And then when I was on the cusp of turning 50. I said, enough of living for others. Now let me do something for myself. So, sorry, I started to expand this idea of mine to more people, not as a business, but as a passion. So even now, my walks are completely free. Anybody can join, but very few do. That's a different matter, but I enjoy it. And um, just I started my walking group in Jan of 2020, Republic Day to be exact. And then in March, lockdown happened. So I done maybe around 10 walks till then, and lockdown happened. And for the next 8, 9 months, everything was like under wraps. But even then, in spite of that, I have managed to do around 100 walks in the next 3 years, and most of them were not repeats. And managed to see more in those 4 or 5 years, since then now it's 5 years, than in my earlier 50 years of my life. And as I say, my Hindi sir, when he used to see when we were at school, he used to see us, peeping out of the window. So that before you look at the ground, know your own background. So I take that to heart. And I've seen wonderful things in the city. Like, you have come for my walks. We've
Yes,
been
I
to the
did.
Raj Bhavan. We've
Yes,
been to Gilbert Hill.
yes.
That's one of the most ancient places and one of the three most ancient places in the world. There's a field in the city that we saw in Lal Bagh.
Lal Bagh.
So I those are some of my favorite. And of course, native town, there's so many small gullies and things waiting to be explored. A story at every turn, at every step. And that's what fascinates me. And my research is mainly to I don't do too much. It's mainly to Wikipedia or Google. And then it's not a very structured walk. So I will try and do something around a musical event or something that I find interesting in the city, and then it just opens up, and you find so many interesting people, so many interesting things that you never know, and you meet so many. The main thing is not looking at the sites, but the people you meet and the work. Some of them have been really great. For example, sorry if I'm going too long,
Please
you
carry
can
on.
interrupt me.
Please carry on. Yeah.
So there, we went to there's a Japanese temple in Guwahati. most people must have passed it as the Annie Besant Road. It's just on the
Yes,
side.
I've seen it, yes.
And just on a whim, I said, let me go, I do the Worli Fort. So there are more than around 50 forts in Bombay, out of which at least 10, 20 still exist. The Sion Fort, Worli Fort. People who live there do not go there. So amazing. And then I went over there, and from my Worli Fort, I said, let me go to this temple. And we met a Japanese priest. And he told us an amazing story. So he had come. So um, his teacher was actually one of was came to India around Gandhi's time, and he was from a sect, Japanese sect that believed that the Buddha's teaching would return to India after 2000 odd years.
Mhm.
And they have some piece saying, I don't recall it now. See, with my hair, I've lost my memory too.
I
I
thought
don't
loss
recall
of
it
hair,
now,
it
but
leads to better memory, Hashim.
no,
No,
it's
okay.
the
I
opposite
stand
might be.
corrected. My hair is still on. I stand corrected.
Yeah. So anyway, so he came and he was there for around 30, 40 years. And then he got a young monk from Japan to take care of this Japanese temple in Bali. So at that time, Sunil Dutt, it's a little bit of a long story, but was walking through Bombay, was, trying to take a Padyatra to Punjab, and he asked people of different faiths will they come with him. And this monk thought that, this fellow probably walk from the temple to the station, take the Punjab mail, and go to Amritsar, and that would be the end of it. But instead, Sunil Dutt actually walked the entire journey, and this monk walked with him. And by the time he came to the Punjab border, people are like fearing for his life because of the height of terrorism in Punjab. And people said he'd be killed, but he went on nonetheless, and that made a difference to people's life. And this made such a difference in monk's life. So in the after the Babri Masjid, when the riots were going on in Bombay, and Bombay was literally burning,
Yes.
this monk used to go around with a drum and beat it and say the mantra of peace in the most affected areas, in southern Bombay. And the Japanese person doing it for when he doesn't have even a stake in it was amazing. So many other stories. For example, just behind my shop in Abdul Rahman Street, there's this Jummah Masjid. It's built on a tank of water, and that was one of the conditions that the person who donated for the mosque gave about 200 years back. He said that this tank of water mustn't be disturbed. The mosque is built on a tank of water. It's got a very ancient library on top, which has ancient manuscript, handwritten Qurans, and some documents from the Mughal time. But it has got even an older book. There's one document that can be read in seven different ways. It's got an even older book, a book on philosophy by Averroes, which is more than 800 years old. I've
Wow.
been to Dharavi, I've been to forts, I've been to Raj Bhavan. It's amazing, and the people you meet there, the stories you learn, and it's just deepened my connect with the city that I love.
No, I was really surprised when we went to Lal Bagh. There was a farm right in the midst of the city.
Yeah,
It was so shocking to see such a lot of,
that bindi,
vegetables
right? You
growing.
saw the
Yes,
bindi, the some of the dried bindi.
yes, bhendi. They were growing bhendi there. Yes, it was quite surprising because I never knew that there could be a farm right in the center of the
And
heart of the
in a
city.
crowded place like Raj Bagh, you never expect.
Never expect, it's really thing. Hashim, see, you lost your spouse, pretty early in life. How do you manage to bring up your daughter?
I think
Yeah.
credit for that doesn't go to me. She will agree with me in that sense. She has always been a very independent person, and we live in a joint family, but she has branched alone. In fact, just before I lost my wife, she stopped going to school, and I was trying my hardest, to get her back into school. But she's a very talented person. she took to art in a very nice way. In fact, before she was 30, before she was in the teens, she uh, she had already held an exhibition in Simrosa Art Gallery. Then she was selected for the Nehru Center Art Exhibition. Then, when she went to New York, an exhibit of hers was selected in the National Gallery there. And she's an amazing person. And you think you learn only from elders, but I've learned a lot from her, and uh, I give her credit for that. And even though she may not be schooled in the normal sense, she's an amazing person and has such a depth of thinking that I just like to listen to her whenever she's around.
That's very wonderful because I also had my exhibition at the Simrosa Art Gallery, plants basically and landscapes. But then I did not move to the US or the other art galleries. In fact, I came to railway stations, where I exhibited my photographs for the public. In fact,
That that's how I met you, Vijaya. So I remember,
yes,
I knew Doreen from One for Tours, and she said, "Come for this Friends of Peace exhibition at Rupal." And there you were giving a talk, and I loved your passion and the way you made something which was such something very technical, so interesting, and you still do. I really admire you for that. And if anybody else had told me I would like to speak with you, I would have said, no, 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 I don't want to speak. But for you, Vijay, anytime.
thank you so much. Yeah, I love to teach, and I combine my practice with research and writing, So that's what I
You
love.
make things so interesting, yeah.
So, Hashim,
Okay.
is there anything, you would like to tell the viewers? Any message you
Um,
would give? Anything else you would like to talk about?
See, what I think it really helps to have very positive outlook in life. And that, what you think has been a setback, or one of why does this thing happen to me? It's a lot of people, they blame fate for whatever happened. But I have nothing but gratitude for whatever has happened. And what you think are your worst moments are actually the moments you can learn the best from. And they take you forward in life. And if you have that outlook in life, then life becomes such a beautiful, it becomes wonderful, I would say. And yeah, I've been always learning. And I think the day I stop learning, I'm going to die. So I hope I keep on
Keep
learning.
learning.
Though I keep on forgetting a lot, but I do keep on learning. I hope I know I can take this forward. I've had a wonderful family. My dad was a wonderful people's person. He could talk with anybody and anyone, anywhere. Uh, my grandmother, my aunt, everybody has been so kind. And living in a joint family, I wouldn't prefer it any other way, though my daughter likes to live alone. And I find that things get taken care of in such a beautiful way. As long as you're, open to adjustment, open to understanding, you have you open to discussions. We have always been open to, new things, and that, takes us forward, keeps us alive. And of course, a house becomes a home only by the people who live in it. Um, all my hobbies are very highly educated. My brother is a homeopathic doctor. He went through a depression. He came out of it wonderfully. He had to lose a year in college, but then he came and he passed. He passed out as a gold medalist. And my twin brother, of course, in New York, he has an open house. You can walk into his house anytime. The doors are never locked. You keep on learning so much from people. And of course, the people around you, of course. My mom, she's like, took up my grandfather's shop at a time, and women never ventured out. And she loves to travel. Even at the age of 80, like, she's the one who was traveling. Always a bag will be packed, and she's already ready to go. And it's amazing, to learn from people. And I wish, being quiet, I could, absorb a lot from, other than talking. But now I talk a lot more. I wish I could keep quiet for, but That's how it. From friends like you, we learn so much. I I I feel that I'm always grateful. My morning starts with a thought of gratitude, and I'm grateful for whatever I receive.
No, I think you're advocating joint family. I'm also very much for it. In fact, we have four generations living. My mother, myself, my daughter, and my grandchildren.
Lovely,
It's always,
lovely,
yeah,
lovely.
it's a great learning experience. When I started doing this podcast and not podcast, webinars, I used to call my granddaughter, who was barely in middle school,
But
to
I
help
don't
us.
mind it. I'm open. So my daughter likes to live alone, but she has an open house. So all her friends will come in anytime. They will cook
Correct,
together. They will
correct,
eat
correct.
together. We will discuss books together. And I found that just being confined to a small group, you need to open up a little bit, share your love.
Absolutely.
And if when in my childhood people asked me what I wanted to be, and I never knew I would turn out to be a CA. And in fact, I was CA but never practiced. I really hated studying for it, but it gave me my wife, because I met her during articleship. And if you would ask me now that what would you like to be, I just read a book, beautiful book recently, and it says the person asked about what would you like to be. So he said I'd like to be kind. So that's what I like to be.
No, I didn't get you. I would like to be
Kind. Be
kind.
kind.
Absolutely. I think that's what we need, empathy and sympathy, in our lives. Thank you very much, Hashim. It was, lovely talking to you. I mean, you are so knowledgeable, and I love the way you talk. I love the way you write. And I love coming to your home for those beautiful meal. I think I came to
You're
one.
always welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And there's so much of learnings, I because we don't know about Bombay. We don't know our
Yes,
city. But you're
yes.
walking us through uh, suburb after suburb. Raj Bhavan. I mean, that is wonderful to go and visit and see the architecture there, the landscaping, and the temple where the Kohlis, come every year to
Yeah,
worship. And Raj Bhavan
true.
opens its gates to these indigenous people of Mumbai, and they come there and they pray, I think, to Shiva. I mean, you've showed us all these things, you showed us temples, you showed us mosques, you showed us churches. You walked us through so much in life. Thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you. Take care and bye,
Same here.
Ashim.